So on a serious note, welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good weekend. We're going to do a quick run through, and then we've got our management meeting where we'll decide on the plan of action for this week. So I've spoken to a couple of you individually, but I think let's go through and see where everyone's at. Tyler and Mike aren't going to be on this call. I asked them just to give us an update in the Slack, so hopefully they'll be able to do that. But okay, Sinead and Finola.
So we had a call with Michelle today, and we fixed up our code in relation to kind of the cover sheet and certain questions. It's the interview is looking like a tiny bit different, so we were hoping we could get someone for maybe like 15 minutes tomorrow just to kind of run through the interview with us. We have a couple of questions. An attorney fills out our form, so we were wondering, questions such as the interpreter question, do we need that in our interview, or where should it go? So if there was someone around tomorrow, it would be helpful.
So you're looking for an estimate. Just off the bat, I think that the interpreter question should be phrased a little differently, because the client isn't the client, like there is still a client at the end of the day, right? Remind me what your form is again?
And the notice of limited appearance.
Kate, how's your schedule looking?
Tomorrow, I could do right at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, that would work. We just need 15 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's that. And then I know that you've been working on the website. I've spoken to you guys about that. So we're going to talk about that more in the management meeting. Okay.
Perfect.
Good job, guys. Vinny and Mia.
So we, I was talking to Melanie this morning, and she said
I saw your message. Sorry, I just saw it now.
Yeah, her schedule's a little busy more recently, so she thinks she's going to need more help with the testing, and I didn't know if I should post in the testing channel to ask more people, or how you wanted to handle getting more people to test our form.
So I think the thing is if people, first of all, definitely post it in the testing channel. If people are at a loose end and available, they're waiting for something to happen on their forms, this is something where you guys can step in and take over some testing, assign yourselves some tests. So Mia, if you could just post that link in the testing channel, please.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just saw your message now when I finished that meeting. So put that in the testing channel. With an all call basically, and if anybody on this call and I'll also just mention it in the channel as well, if anybody on the call in the team has time, they can do even just one test. They don't have to do a whole wad of them. So maybe you can just say as little as one test.
Okay.
Vinny, how's it going with you?
I'm doing fine. I don't think I have any action points right now, so if anyone needs any help with anything or just any testing, they can just message me through Slack.
Okay, perfect. So let's maybe see if any of the other teams need their forms tested, and then maybe we can do a little switcheroo where you test theirs and they test yours.
Got it.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind. Okay. Aubrey. No one's got their cameras on. Aubrey, Blake, and Matt. I don't know who's going today.
I'll go today. I'm eating, sorry, so I have my camera off. We built out the template for testing and it should be ready to go. We do have kind of a blocker / question before we start using it. I don't know if now's the appropriate time, but
testing question.
I'll throw it out there. We can maybe discuss after. We have because it's two people, the marriage without delay form, we realized that maybe we should be building in the text to another person for signature, or if we're really only saving that for when there's maybe clients and attorneys. We just weren't sure when we realized that there was multiple people. We shouldn't assume that they're together filling out the form.
Right.
So we don't have that built in. We weren't sure if we should before we go to testing, was the only blocker that we have right now. Otherwise, we're good to go.
You had 2 signatures, right?
Yes, we still have 2 signatures.
the question is that the thing that Mariah is working on, right?
Oh, how it can be separate.
So I think MVP.
Yeah.
I think that's.
I mean, Kate, what do you think? I think in the beginning, if you're gonna fill this out, it takes 2 seconds to fill out the interview. Doesn't it make sense to say to them, the person that you want to marry, have them with you, and you just both sign it instead of going? I mean, it's just because
for MVP.
You're getting
right?
married, you can be together.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I think, and it's very
Hopefully.
quick. It's not a adversarial thing, and the technology behind trying to fix the other thing, it's not fixed yet, is it, Michelle?
You're muted, Michelle.
You're muted.
No, though we're getting there.
Yeah.
But
Well,
no,
maybe
add
Maybe we
that
could
in.
say, fill this
When
out
you
at a
get there.
time.
When
At
you're
the
both
present time, you
together.
must be together when.
Yeah.
filling
I
this
think
out.
I put that in my language review of it, saying just make
Yes.
sure that you're both there. So I think you're good with that, Aubrey.
Okay, that's the answer we were hoping for. So great. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so that's
Yay.
so for now what we'll do is you guys can proceed with testing. So now, do you need a review of your tests? Is it you've done the template now?
We've done the template and we were building out 3 scenarios to make
Right.
sure we were doing it right this morning. So once those are good to go, we'll put it in Slack for review if anybody's available.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And as I say, guys, the best bet is to put it in the channels, either code or testing, depending on what your question is. You can always relevant people, but it's always better that everybody can see it, and hopefully somebody will jump on it. Okay, so you guys are you still just doing your once you guys have finished your 3 scenario building out those 3 test cases, you could have a look at Vinny and Mia's tests that Mia's going to be putting in the test channel, and even if you just each run one, that would be a good help.
Sounds good.
Okay. If you have any questions, you can always just message me and Vinny, or you just add them on that, because people might have the same questions, so add them on that thread. Okay. James, it's just you today.
Yeah, just me. Jason couldn't make it, but I did talk to him earlier this morning. Our template is done now, and now our plan is to do a few test cases and see if we're on the right track.
Okay, so you're just basically at the same place as
Yeah.
Blake, Matt, and Aubrey.
Yeah.
Okay, so exactly the same thing. Put those, once you're ready for review, put them in the test channel, and then maybe take on each of you just take on a minimum 1 of the generic motion family law that Mia's going to be posting in the test channel. By take on, I mean just run through the test case for them. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Will you communicate that to Jason as well, please?
Yeah, I'm going to talk to him after this.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. And then we've got Sam for Sam and Mark.
Yeah. So Mark
So
and
you
I
had a problem.
have
What
been-
was that about?
Well, we have like a bunch of little like functionality things that we think would improve at least the interview, or like the quality of just like, the user being able to move through it. We have a bunch of like little questions that I think could be solved if we probably had like a meeting with somebody that like really just knew the answer to like what to do. Little things like, if else statements that can like, control if you go to this screen or that screen. We could take some time to figure it out, but I think honestly we just have some questions that might be solved better just if someone was there helping us out. But other than that, like the form works, everything's good. We just like kind of making sure that everything works smoothly.
Trying to refine it and make the like user experience better.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That's where we're at now as well. And we spent, I'm not joking you, the entire weekend trying to figure out objects. Not, we haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
Plot
Why
twist.
didn't you ask us? Half an hour, right? Half an hour was the
I know, but it's a
deal.
case of like reading through all the documentation and then like
So
going through all
half an
fitness
hour.
tutorials.
Half an hour.
The thing
Well, I
would be
think
that,
the half an hour is once you understand it, you're trying to solve it, but
Right.
you feel like you want
We need to
to
just
at
learn.
least give it a go, and sometimes half an hour just isn't enough. I mean, 4 hours Saturday morning. Finally gave
I'm
up.
just saying, if you're struggling with one problem for over
Yeah.
half an hour, you don't have to learn it from the documentation. It's good to learn how to learn it from the documentation, but you can also learn it from someone showing you.
Yeah. My thing is that
Yeah.
Practice what you preach.
I know. My thing is that
Well, I'm interested if you and Lance Maeve could share, like, what are the things that you found helpful for understanding objects? That'd actually be really good to know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like how to better,
we've been on
and
Slack.
what things you looked at to learn.
Dave, did you get through? Did you get to the other end, or did you give up?
No,
You
we
gave up.
We gave up.
Oh, okay.
It was basically a case of
Never mind.
conceptualizing
What are the things that weren't helpful, I guess?
And the thing was, I knew that if we went to Michelle or Quentin, we would have the question, and they would be able to fix that discrete thing. But the actual general knowledge about it was a lot more. You know, we needed a lot more input. So, and I also just didn't feel fair.
You should sit in on my sessions, Maeve. I don't.
Maybe we have a nomination for Teaching Tuesday, although we already did slightly cover object stuff.
We did
a little bit,
but not. I mean, because I understood that object part, but then when it came to like doing it by yourself, it's always a little bit more scary. Anyway, so that would be great if we could do that on Teaching Tuesday. Because objects are very handy. So Sam, I think what you're asking for is like a meeting with somebody to try and explain some of the little. You have a number of little questions.
Yeah, I think it would just be served better than me just tossing like a million little questions out into the assembly code line. I think it would just be helpful for Mark and I, because we're kind of in the same boat trying to figure out everything.
What would be good though is to actually write out those questions, even just 1 or 2 lines for each question, so that we have a record of what kind of questions you had. Because if you're having them, guarantee you that we've had them or are having them. So you could write those questions out. We could help you solve them. I'm using the royal we here. I'm looking at myself. I did help once though, so that. But so, and then we can keep track of how those questions were answered.
Definitely, yeah. So Mark and I have that list. That's what we did on Friday. So we're good to go. I'll send out a message, and whoever's interested can, I guess, just reply, and we'll set up a meeting.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
The other thing about those little bitty things is they might be things that somebody who's not as advanced as Michelle or Quentin could actually help you with.
Right, that we've
so
gone through.
people could step in. I mean, it might waste somebody's time who's not as advanced as Michelle and Quentin, but at least people would have a sense of whether it was worth trying to help. People have been through that before, so that would be an effective use of our most experts' time.
And from a learning point of view, it is great to try to teach somebody something that you've learned. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be really helpful for the person who can explain it.
Mia has been helping, especially with the cover sheet, incorporating the cover page and the submission to court for both docx and PDF. And actually those videos are on YouTube right now. So pro tip is just watch them in double speed, and you can see kind of how somebody who's really good, Mia, but not, obviously not Quentin, who just knows the answer, you puzzle through it together, and it's really beneficial to try and help teaching. So if it is something that you guys have come across that you see Sam posting about, and you know the answer, then jump on a call with him and Mark, and yeah. And that's what happened with when I was helping Sam with those basic bugs. It was stuff that I encountered when I first started and knew how to solve it. You know what I mean? So it was like, it wasn't high grade stuff like objects. Okay, so that's we got Lily.
So do we want them to put the kind of the whole list in the thing, and if you know how to answer 2, pipe up and say, hey, I can help with a couple of those.
Yeah.
And we'll get them started.
And if no one can answer, then we'll just have to get you on with Michelle and Quentin.
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
And
we'll do
it
that.
probably is something we could spend time tomorrow on too, because I think Teaching Tuesday is going to be question driven tomorrow. So, but we can try to get some of it done before that.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to do that. I feel like I need to get a better lesson together. So I'm going to rely on you, maybe, to tell me where are things using, and maybe I can make a better lesson for next week. I don't think I can do it for tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, yeah. Okay, perfect. So that might work, Sam. If no one comes to you today, we can just deal with it tomorrow in Teaching Tuesday. And if you guys are at kind of a bottleneck waiting for something to happen, there's tests in the testing channel that you can help run.
Okay.
Basically, if you're on the project and you're looking for something to do, right now it's going to be testing, or if you're waiting for something to happen on your form. Okay, so last but not least, Lily, where are you at?
I just fixed the zero living expense error that I found out on Friday, so I released it fixed this morning, and I guess now it's in Karna's hands. But I know she's busy. She won't get to it until what?
Until what, the
After.
209A?
Yeah, so that's okay.
You know, it's what is that paradox, not herpes paradox. You know, you get closer and you're still not there.
Zeno's paradox.
Zeno's paradox.
Zeno's right, yeah.
Where did herpes come from,
Explain that to my
Something
8-year-old
Greek. I know it's somebody Greek.
Enos
I started a
Definitely.
project once. I started a project once at an old employer, and because I was feeling a little because they had been trying to do it for years, I called the Project Zeno, or Zeno's paradox, and
Nice.
yeah.
Did they love it?
I'm
not sure
was
they
not
got it.
like a math person, but I was explaining to my 8-year-old, it's like, hey, that's why we invented calculus. I think is right.
That was my
Yeah,
favorite
that's right.
thing for my dad to do, is to tell me how, you know, he's like, and now let me start explaining it. No, I'm 3 years old, Dad.
So Lily,
We have to integrate over the problem, and then we won't have a problem of nemesis.
Okay, I think this conversation's got derivative. Let's
Yes,
move on.
sorry.
Yeah, okay. So now
There's a limit to your tolerance.
I'm afraid, yeah, I just can't deal with all these tangents.
Oh my God.
Lily.
now
Go, Lily. Say
the toolbox project, Michelle and I are still working on some issues, but I have a question for Quentin. I know a while ago you mentioned that there are a few questions that I think it's in the 229A project that you thought it should be moved to
Sure,
the
yeah.
toolbox too.
Yeah, there's like a couple of like teeny little helper functions that I think people could use in other contexts.
Yeah, so that's great. I took a look this morning. I saw a list of files there in the module folder, and also there's some in the static files folders. I'm going to send the list in the channel, and then you tell me which ones you want me to move.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, like anything that's not really specific to our project could go in there. So like any of the standalone functions, the classes probably not. I think all of the functions could.
Yeah, I think that then there's a formatting that looks cute too. So quite a few ones.
Yeah, some of the formatting, like yeah, probably not everyone knows about that. So putting it in examples would be helpful.
Yeah,
when I did it more than once, I wrote it, but I don't think I spread the word very well for how to access them for other people.
All right. I can put those into the toolbox, then create a sample interview to explain how to use them. All right.
That'd be fantastic. Okay, thank
That's
you,
it.
Lily. So you'll just message in the group. David has sent us an introduction. Well, did you also recommend Weapons of Math Destruction, which I really loved?
Actually,
Yes.
at one time, I bought like an online teaching course for calculus because at classrooms, I never received a very nice explanation. So maybe this is nice, but I'll watch it. It's really not much.
Okay, guys, that's all for today. Grab that book. And again, always, I think, Mia, have you already done it? Posting in the testing channel yet? You're going to do it after the call.
Not yet, I'm about to.
Okay. And then when the next test comes available, or somebody else has a test ready to do, then we'll put Vinny and Mia on that one. For now, you guys don't really have an action point. What? Perhaps you guys will be able to help Sam and Mark. Fingers crossed.
Also, I think we should be very close to being able to test 209A again.
Okay.
I just merged Quentin's last PR. I think there may be one more. I was difficult communication this morning, so maybe
Probably
we'll
talk about it. So the one that I have not worked on at all is the impoundment piece.
Okay.
We'll probably talk about that a little bit next, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll just take you 2 seconds. I don't think it'll take very long, and then I think we'll be ready to test those 2 pieces again. And those are the last bits.
And then we're okay.
Yeah. So I think those will be coming out of the management meeting, and then so yeah, we can probably be telling people to do stuff this afternoon or if people have capacity.
Yep. If you have capacity, just stay on the Slack and have a look, and then we will ping people. Okay. Otherwise, have a good afternoon, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey, I'm going to stop recording quickly.